Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. I am your host, Kevin Reed, and this is the review of the new action comedy starring Dave Bautista, The Killer's Game. This film is about a hitman who is diagnosed with this terminal illness, and he decides to take a hit out on himself. But when the contract goes into play, he finds out that he was misdiagnosed. Now he's in a fight for his life. This film comes from director J.J. Perry, who directed a Netflix film a couple of years ago that starred Jamie Foxx. I believe it was called The Day Shift, about the vampires or the zombies, something. But it was a cool little movie. It wasn't the greatest thing. It was definitely a Netflix film. Something that you can definitely catch on streaming. I would say The Killer's Game should have followed that trope. Even though this film was released in theaters, this was not a really good film. This movie was based on a 1997 novel of the same name, and granted, I didn't read the novel, so I don't know how true to the source material this film is, but I would imagine it's not like this. This was look, I went into this not looking for movie of the year, Academy Award nominated performances and whatnot. I knew exactly what I signed up for in The Killer's Game, but it just didn't get there. I was trying to force myself to like it. You ever sit there and watch a movie that you have a little excitement for? I'm not going to say you're over the moon, like, oh my God, I can't wait. Not those type of movies, but a movie that you was kind of like, okay, this is an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. I can turn my brain off, escape the world for a little while. I'm not really looking for nothing. I just want to be entertained for 90 minutes. This is what I was expecting. I wanted to be entertained for 90 minutes. Now, I will say I was entertained for the most part. It wasn't horrible. This isn't the worst movie I've seen this year. It's not even close to being the worst movie I've seen this year, to be 100% honest with you. But aside from a few action sequences and some fight choreography, there was nothing about this movie that will stand out for you, except for a couple of things that I'm going to go over in a couple of minutes. But starring alongside Dave Bautista, you have Sofia Boutella, Terry Crews, Scott Palm, Clementoff, I believe that's how you say her name, which they reuniting Dave Bautista and Palm. They starred together in the Galaxy of the Guardians of the Galaxy, the Guardians of the Galaxy films together, and also the great Ben Kingsley. Aside from a couple of performances here, the actors were really like set pieces. The screenplay did these actors no justice. And I say the screenplay because all of these actors in this film are competent actors. I mean, Ben Kingsley is an Academy Award winning actor, multiple time nominee and whatnot. So we know that he can act. And he actually acted. He was the one performer in this film that actually came and didn't realize what type of movie he was in, because he was given a performance and he did a really good job with his performance. Everybody else was there just to fill a spot, with the exception of Terry Crews. Terry Crews really stood out to me. I enjoyed Terry Crews in this film. He was funny when he needed to be funny. He was vicious when he needed to be vicious as this hitman, or one of the hitmen going after Dave Bautista. But aside from him, nothing else really stood out, and that includes Dave Bautista, which hurts my heart because I'm a huge fan of Dave Bautista. I've been following his whole career, even going back to the WWE. Me being a wrestling fan, I always enjoyed Bautista. And when he jumped over into Hollywood, he was never that one wrestler that I thought would make it, and that's not a slight on him, but it's hard to make that transition. I know Dwayne the Rock Johnson did it, but and that's a rarity, you know. John Cena, for the most part, he's building up that cachet, but he's getting there. You know, him as Peacemaker really is the linchpin in his acting career right now, and it's showing that he is truly a good actor. Uh, Dave Bautista, oh, after seeing him in certain roles, Dave Bautista didn't go the typical wrestler route, you know, career path route. Just star in these action movies and, you know, showing his physique and all this other good stuff. No, Dave Bautista really dove into some real acting movie. I mean, you know, where he had to sharpen his skills. Going back to the James Bond film, which James Bond film it was it Spectre? I think it was Spectre he was in. And he was good in Spectre. He was really menacing as the villain, the hitchman in that James Bond film. And Dune and Blade Runner 2049 and so on and so forth. He didn't go the typical route. Yes, he was in Guardians of the Galaxy, but that wasn't your typical action movie. You know, he was self-deprecating on himself, you know, as far as his character and whatnot, and having fun. And he really shines as an actor. I think at one point, I always felt that Dwayne Johnson was going to be that wrestler that gets a award for his acting. But right now, I really think it's going to be Dave Bautista. Unfortunately, it's not going to be for the Killer's Game. This was not his finest hour here. This was a bland performance by him, and I really don't knock him. I think it was more the direction and the writing here, because they did him no help here. You know, it was bland dialogue, bland delivery. Sophia Bertella, I've seen her in roles where she shined. She even shined, believe it or not, in the Zack Snyder films that coming on Netflix recently. It was two of them. Rebel Moon. She was good in those movies, even though those movies are hot trash. She was good in them, and I enjoyed her. Not here. Actually, she was the worst. I think, and it wasn't her. It was the dialogue. Her dialogue was so corny throughout this film. It was cheesy and it was delivered so bad. I just felt so bad for her. And she is the love interest of Dave Bautista, and they had no chemistry. And you could see that there was something there between them, you know, them acting and bouncing off of each other, but the dialogue, the screenplay did not help them at all, and it just could not connect. And you supposed to be cheering for this relationship throughout the movie, and it just fell flat. Now, like I mentioned earlier, I absolutely enjoyed the action sequences. J.J. Perry, for all of his faults, he knows action. He's a former stuntman, you know, so he comes out of that same camp with the director of the John Wick films and David Leitch. So they know action because they're former stuntmen, and the action was great. It was exciting. I actually loved the fight sequences and whatnot. Really cool, really cool. But once the action sequences end, so does the interest in this film. It was like, oh my God, this is so boring. It's dragging. It just felt draggy. To say it was an hour and 30 minutes long, it felt longer, you know. And the movie never quite got to the height that it kind of set up. And one of the reasons is this is one of the rare films. Well, I take that back. It isn't rare, but this did it, and I didn't even realize this film did it. The marketing for this film, the trailer for this movie, spoils the whole movie. And so, if you've seen the trailer, you've seen virtually every kill in this movie, and it blew my mind. It really blew my mind because I had watched the trailer randomly. I wasn't even seeking the trailer, but the trailer had came on, and I watched the trailer and went and saw the movie. And I'm like, man, I saw every kill, so nothing really shocked me. I mean, every kill, every single kill is in the trailer. I know I'm probably spoiling the movie, but it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. It's like, but there are some action sequences in between that's not in the trailer, but it's like, my God, they showed everything. It's amazing. I don't know what the strategy was at Lionsgate releasing that trailer. It was completely silly and unnecessary. But The Killing Game, which is currently in theaters, starring Dave Bautista, gets a letter grade of a D. It is it's a fun movie at times, but I think the silliness outweighs the fun, and it just was not an enjoyable watch for me. But that's just me. I would love to know your thoughts of The Killer's Game. Did you enjoy it? Did you check it out? Or are you waiting for it to drop on one of these streaming services in the next month or so? Because it will be there pretty soon. Let me know by email, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also let me know on all of our social media platforms. Just search for the KB Radio Network. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, to subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel on YouTube and like this video if you don't mind. Don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me for this review of The Killer's Game. Want you all to know that I love you, continue to love everyone, and until we speak again, you all be blessed.